I genuinely believed that moving into this caravan was the financial reset that I needed. Lower overheads, fewer fixed bills like rent, council tax, water, and subscriptions to broadband and Sky TV. A much simpler life. Surely that meant that I could finally get ahead of myself and start living a bit more easy. I thought that was the win. Well, it turns out I was still leaking over £3,000 a year and I didn't even notice. And this wasn't luxury spending either. I mean, there is no gold-plated taps in this caravan, I can assure you. And it wasn't one reckless decision either. It was hundreds of small mini transactions repeated over and over. You see, when you downsize your life, like I have, it feels empowering. You know, you remove all the big bills and the obvious drains on your finances, and it finally feels like you're taking control. But control isn't the same as attention. You see, I redesigned my housing costs, but crucially, I didn't redesign my habits. And habits travel with you, and drift follows behaviour. You see, if behaviour doesn't change, then the leak doesn't stop, it just relocates. So here we go. The first thing I looked at straight off the bat was subscriptions. And the first one that I came across was Credit Expert. Now it's about £15 a month, and I signed up for Credit Expert around about 12 months ago when I left the house, just to take a financial snapshot of where I was at that point in time. But the problem with small subscriptions like that is, well, they kind of linger. But Credit Expert, for instance here, C Expert, £15 a month, a cool £180 a year. And the best part of it is, I don't need Credit Expert to say I can't get a loan. I have no fixed address. And that got me thinking, what other subscriptions that I am subconsciously bleeding money to? Well, Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. Not very much a year, but every year, £108. Now I haven't ordered anything off Amazon for months, but still, in the background it's there quietly, auto-renewing month on month, £108 a year. Now together straight away, we're nearly at 300 quid. And here's the uncomfortable bit, between them two subscriptions alone, I haven't used them. It's dead money. And then the next thing I looked at was the £5 meal deal. Now, I am not a big lover of supermarket pre-prepared sandwiches straight off the bat, so this one for me is not a particularly biggie. But I still, on average, once a week get a meal deal. And I like to call that my I forgot to prepare tax. But at £5 a time, once a week, meal deals goes on the list. Meal deal, £5 a week, 52 weeks, a cool £260 a year. You see where I'm going with this? Now that isn't hunger, that is just disorganisation. And I'm aware these numbers so far are not dramatic, but it still stacks, and as Tesco's like to say, every little helps. And then the next thing I looked at, and now we're all guilty of this, is the Just Eat app. Now, this one shocked me, genuinely shocked me, because in my head it was an occasional treat and controlled spending. You know, a takeaway really is a sense of, I've earned that, am I right? But the problem I have is living quite rurally. Number one, I get hit with the minimum order value and then a delivery fee on top. So I don't really make a habit of it, but still. I've been scrolling through the app and it's £27, £28, £26. And it surprised me really at the frequency of this, because in my own head, I thought rarely. But in actual fact, it averages once a week. Now, just eat. £27 a week times by 52 weeks comes out at a £1,404. Shocking, right? That isn't convenience. That is some serious money. And here's what actually bothers me. When you order a takeaway, it never really feels like something that you do routinely. Am I right? It feels very much like a treat, a one-off decision, if you like. One long hard shift, or one busy evening, or one I can't be bothered to cook. £1,404 a year. You see, it is the same decision week on week. It doesn't matter if it's a Friday, Tuesday, blah, blah. It happens weekly, for me anyway. And that's when a treat becomes a pattern. Because, nothing about a £27 takeaway feels reckless. It still feels very much justified. But justification doesn't stop accumulation. Do you get me? So straight off the bat, I'm already at nearly £2,000. But it doesn't stop there, unfortunately. And then this final one I'm going to add to the whiteboard really surprised me. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel this coming at all. Energy drinks. That humble, small can of refreshment. £2 a pop. Honestly, I've quite easily done 1, 2, 3, but let's just average 2 a day. £4 a day doesn't sound like anything really, does it? Feels like fuel, feels like productivity. Refreshment, definitely feels like refreshment, but it doesn't feel like indulgence. Almost categorise it as necessity. So the last one that's going on my board for now, energy drinks. £4 a day, over 365 days, £1,460. £1,460. And at that point, I stopped buying energy drinks on the regular. Because that's not just caffeine. That's not just a quick refreshment hit. That is a return flight to Thailand, or 2 weeks all-inclusive in Spain. And the thing is, when you're buying an energy drink at £2 a time, it is that small transaction of £2. It's nothing. Don't even think about it. But if I tell myself that's a £1,400 a year decision that I'm making in micro slots, changes the math. And that's what I mean by drift. It hides inside normality. 1,000 tiny contactless taps. Doesn't seem serious, but when you multiply it, it's big, mega money. So when I've stacked all this properly, subscriptions, meal deals, Just Eat, energy drinks, it wasn't £2,000, but here's the total. £3,412. There's the maths. Nearly 2 months' wages. Not on luxury, but on autopilot. Now, I'm not saying that I feel guilty about this, and I'm definitely not saying that I'm going to start living like a monk. I will still have an energy drink from time to time. I will still have a takeaway now and again. That's not the point. The point is awareness. Drift is unconscious spending. Design is deliberate allocation. Look, for all of this, I have not downgraded my lifestyle in any way, shape or form. I've just stopped funding the drift without knowing it. £3,000 isn't just money. It's margin. It's time. And it's optionality. And do you know what the horrible irony of all of this is? I'm still trying to put overtime shifts in while quietly leaking £3,500 a year. That's not a money problem. That's an attention problem. You see, most of us focus on how to earn more. You know, we look for better pay, extra shifts, side gigs. I mean, even me doing this YouTube channel. But sometimes the upgrade isn't additional income. It's awareness of where your money's actually going. And this isn't about living in a caravan. It's about behaviour. Drift follows patterns. Most of us don't check the small stuff because it doesn't hurt in real time. It doesn't hurt in the moment. It's painless. But painless becomes expensive. And expensive becomes normal. Until you actually look. So the most profitable day off I've had this year wasn't overtime. It wasn't a side gig. It was the day that I started to pay attention. So now you know where I've been licking £3,000 a year. What about you? Is there anything that comes to mind instantly where you've been licking money? Is there anything that comes to mind straight away? Something small that probably stacks more than you'd even care to admit? I'd genuinely be interested to hear it. And if this kind of honest breakdown resonates with you, real numbers, real talk, no drama, then subscribe, because that's what this channel's all about. At the end of the day, I didn't downgrade my life. I just started paying attention.